what's up? This is Matt with Let's Talk Music. I'm here with Sin of SIGLOS, and he's joining us today from LA. How we doing today, buddy?
Good, man. Usually sunny in California, but today it's actually cloudy and but we're good.
Well, that kind of sets the mood for a metal interview.
Exactly. It's a little bit more appropriate.
Right. So, you are a two-time Grammy nominated guitarist, and you have played with Ministry, Lords of Acid, American Head Charge, and Society One.
Correct.
So, just out of curiosity, man, what was Ministry like? Al Jorgensen is unique.
Yeah, that's definitely that's an understatement. Um, it was great, man. I did 15 years with them. Um, I joined them in 2006. Technically, I first came in as the guitar player for the Revolting Cocks on a tour that had Ministry and the Revolting Cocks opening for.
Mhm.
And so I came in as the touring guitar player for the Revolting Cocks, and this was in 2006. And then during that tour is when Al and I just kind of started talking more about music and stuff, and he asked if I'd be willing to come out to help him work on the new Ministry album, which turned into an album called The Last Sucker. And
Mhm.
that was it, man. That was I started writing for that record in 2006, and 15 years. I was with the band, and it was great, man. It was I got to do some amazing things, things that I never thought I would ever do. Went to places I never thought I would go to. So it was a great experience. It was all very good.
Cool. So, tell me a little bit about yourself, Sin. At what age did you really decide, hey, I'm gonna play guitar? And what was it that, got you into music?
I still haven't decided if I want to play guitar. No, I started well. The turning point for me was when I was 6 years old, and I was introduced to Kiss Alive.
Hmm.
Um, and that was like where I actually said, "This is what I want to do." I started playing the guitar at about 10 years old, and that was it, man. It was just blinders for me the whole time. It's what I set my mind to do, and I had tunnel vision, and luckily it worked out for me, and I got to achieve all the things that I wanted to achieve. But yeah, music was always a passion that I had and that I felt ever since I was as far back as I can remember. My parents always had music playing at home, and I was very familiar with my parents' old record collection from the 60s and stuff. So even as like a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, I was listening to like the Kinks and the Animals and the Stones and the Beatles and stuff like that. So I was, well versed in that style, as well as the traditional, because I come from a Mexican family, as well as very traditional Mexican Spanish music,
Hmm.
which sort of translates into my new project. But yeah, that's how it started for me, man.
Yeah, I was reading that in the press release that, the song draws from your Latin heritage.
Very much so, especially because Pedro, our vocalist, lyricist, sings everything Spanish. The whole band's is all the lyrical content is in Spanish.
Hmm.
So we're both Mexican of Mexican descent, and we just kind of wanted to touch on that. We thought it was a cool thing, something a little different, and that's where we went with it.
So the single, could you say it for me, please?
So the latest single is called Morir para Vivir, which translates into Die to Live.
Okay. Okay, that's what I was going to ask and so drawing on your Latin heritage with that song, what was the inspiration for you guys to sit down and write it?
Well, I had written the music during the shutdown, during the pandemic. So I
Mhm.
had that song sort of, in my arsenal when Pedro and I decided to make this an actual project. We had already worked on another song, the previous single called Por los Siglos. And so when I showed him this particular tune, again, it was a song that I probably had written maybe the year before, so like 2020, I think I wrote the music for this song. He immediately just kind of went into his zone and came back with those vocals and what you hear pretty much on the recording. We didn't do much changing or too much editing. He just nailed it. Lyrical content for him, I kind of leave it all up to him. He's a great lyricist. He's a very inspired and spiritual person. So most of the lyrics have, a deep meaning for him. Um, the only stipulation I ever I think gave him is that I didn't want any political lyrics.
Right.
Um, you know, and so that was it. Other than that, I mean, we want to write about pretty much anything other than politics. But yeah, that's how that song came together.
So the rest of the band, did these guys have like a big past like yourself with like ministry or whatever? I mean, have they been in some different bands that we might know?
No, I don't think in big Pedro, the singer, is in a band called Trastorno, which is a, a Spanish black metal, ish band. But the other guys in the band haven't really been in many big name bands or anything like that. They're all great players, and they've all been in bands and are in other projects as well, but more on the local or regional scene.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean the song is actually pretty just kick ass from beginning to end. I mean, I love the intro with with him, thudding the stick
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and the crunching, to the guitars, to the nice
Yep.
double kick. I mean, it's a very well put together song,
Thank
and
you, man. I
honestly,
appreciate that.
I mean, whether you can speak Spanish or not, it's still just it really kicks ass.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I mean, thank you for saying those things. I appreciate it. And but I feel the same way, man. When Pedro and I first started working together, one of the first things he asked me, it might have been actually been the first thing he asked me is, do you want me to sing in English or Spanish? And I hadn't even thought about that. I hadn't even gone there. But as when he asked me that, I immediately said Spanish. Like it just kind of came natural to me. I was like, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, fuck, I think that just gives it another cool, different angle. But to me, music is universal, man. I can listen to
Amen,
anything. I can
brother.
listen to something. Yeah, I can listen to something, where I have no idea what they're saying. A language that I don't speak, but I can still connect to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel the same way with this. So it's such a universal thing. I think that people are either going to like it, you know what I mean, or not. But I don't think they'll be turned off, because it's in Spanish.
Right, right.
So, but yeah,
Recently, man, I've connected with some publicists and record companies across the pond, and have been doing bands from like Italy,
yeah,
Finland, Sweden, and it's been a blast. I
yeah,
mean, the songs are in English, but you can listen to some of their music that isn't, and it's just as cool.
of course.
One band that I really, dug was an Italian band called Virtual Symmetry, and
Nice.
they drew influence from Dream Theater. So
Oh, nice.
they're like a cinematic progressive rock, and I mean,
Gotcha.
one of the great things about doing this, man, is I've been turned on to so many different cultures and so many different types of music. One guy that I talked to, he was a guitar player for a band called Gamora, and he just had this whole like collection on his wall of like action figures and stuff. And it's just really cool to, talk to people that are from different places instead of just, everybody in the US, I
Right. Of
because I'm,
course.
I'm I'm like you. Music is a universal language, and
Yeah.
I can translate the music itself, maybe not the lyrics, but the music itself, and understand kind of the concept of it, and you know
Sure.
get a feeling from it.
Of course. Yeah. Absolutely, man. I completely agree with that.
So I mean, it's like awesome for you guys. It's awesome for us. I mean, as musicians, as fans, it's just I've always said one huge community. Metal is like one of the biggest communities there is.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I don't care if it's Mexican, Canadian, Australian. It's a big community.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
So with your video, I read was directed by Matt Zane.
Yes.
That guy is interesting. I did an interview with him, and I believe that they're going to be coming to town soon with the Static X tour. And
Yeah, they're going. Yeah, they're going out with Static X, which is great. But yeah, Matt directed the video. He and I were in obviously in Society One together.
mhm,
So we've been friends since 1999, 98, 99.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, so like, just what has been like your favorite to do? I mean, has this project been your favorite, or as I mean, as your
Oh man,
throughout your
like
years playing music?
yeah, that's really tough to answer because each project um, brings its own thing and joy to me.
Hmm.
To me, this is just it's another sort of avenue for me to express myself, if that makes any sense. So it's really tough. Like what I feel and the joy that I feel with Siglos is different than what I felt when I played with in Society One or with Ministry or with Head Charge. It's almost like they fit in different categories, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
um, it's tough for me to pick what my favorite is. I mean, the best answer I could give you is it's my favorite is just to be able to do all these things and
Mhm.
to be able to express myself. Now with this project, the next year, the following year, I could have a completely different sounding project, and that's just another thing that's sort of feeding me and enabling me to express myself. So just I'm very lucky, and I feel very lucky to be able to do all that.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
So, for 2023, you going to be releasing some more singles?
Yeah, no. So the plan is Siglos will be releasing a 5-song EP called Rituales Sagrados, um, and that will be out the end of January.
Okay,
So that's the next thing, and it's all done. Artwork is absolutely amazing.
I've seen that.
Um, yeah. So and there's a little more to it as well.
Okay,
So that'll be out the end of next month, and then we'll see what happens. We've been talking to some agents, some promoters throughout the world, so hopefully we can get this out into a live capacity at some point.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the artwork was done by Nestor Avalos.
Avalos. Uh-huh.
Avalos. Okay, man, I am trying my best with these with
No,
these.
you're good, man. You're good.
So yeah, I mean, I seen the artwork on the press release, and I was like, oh, that's pretty damn cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it really
He's
fits.
sick, man. That guy is such a talented artist. He knocked it out of the park with this, and like I said, there's a little more to it, and even more will be released even after the EP comes out. We didn't want to show it all at
Mhm.
once, so he's a very talented artist. He works with a ton of bands, and I think he's going to do great things.
So where did you guys shoot the video at?
We shot the video here in Southern California. When I spoke with Matt about this video, I told him that I wanted it to be a little bit more performance based than our previous video. The previous video was also killer, black and white, shot out in the desert, very cinematic ish, a little bit more moody, which is great, which is what we wanted. Elisa Mary did that video and her company, and they were brilliant. But with this new video or the latest video, I wanted it to be more kind of soundstage performance. But a very cool element that we brought is that there's an actual shaman in that video performing an actual ceremony on Pedro, and that was real. Like that's not an actor or anything like that. That's a real shaman that came in from Mexico, speaks very, very, very little English, and yeah, we got to witness like an actual cleansing during that video shoot.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
So when you
very cool that we got to do that. You know, those are those are rare experiences and situations to be in. So we all felt very lucky that we were able to be there for that.
yeah, it's I mean, it's religious experience are always cool anyways. I mean, something like
Yep.
that, a cleansing or baptism, whatever. I mean,
Yeah, totally.
it's always nice to see somebody giving themselves to, a higher
Yeah.
power.
Yep.
So like when you said the name of the album, what does that translate to?
Sacred rituals.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Man,
good.
by the end of this video, you're going to be bilingual.
I'm telling you, man, I'm getting this. So guitar wise, what equipment do you prefer? I mean,
What
you
what?
what guitar wise, what equipment do you prefer?
Well, I have a signature series Schecter guitar. It's the Quirin V1 that has been out now for Jesus, I think 7 years. I think I've had my signature series guitar, so that's like my guitar of choice.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, I've used Schecter the entire time I was with Ministry, and then my signature series came out in 2015, and it's what I use anytime I play out live. It's just my favorite guitar. It's very comfortable and easy for me to play. So that's like my go-to, when I do any live gigs. On the last tour I did was the Ministry tour when we opened for Slayer, which was in 2019, and
Mhm.
obviously I had those guitars with me, and we were using our Kemper amplifiers on that run.
Okay.
Um, Kemper just seems to be a good travel friendly amplifier, because it's so expensive to tour and to go overseas with all your gear. So
Mhm.
um, we were able to kind of get our tones and our sounds into those Kempers. But if I had my choice, I would still travel with my old Marshall JCM 800s. That's like my favorite. You know what I mean? I still have those amplifiers and stuff. And if it was feasible and if it could make sense, financially, I would still travel with all that stuff.
So are you guys currently under a label or is that in the works too?
No, no, right now, no label. We're releasing this EP ourselves,
Mhm.
just because we kind of want to get it out there and we want people to just kind of experience, having an actual physical CD, something they can hold in their hand. And then we'll see what happens. We've been in talks with some people, with some labels, but this I wanted to sort of put out, before we continued.
Now, with being with some of the bigger bands and, being under labels and also being independent, which one do you prefer?
Uh, it's
I
a
mean, you don't
tough
have to answer
question
that if it's
because
going to cause problems, but
no, no, no. It's a tough question because you know being on a label, the obviously the plus is the muscle that they have, meaning to get
mhm,
your music out there if they want to.
mhm,
um the bad side is all the bureaucracy with it, and all the BS and all the red tape and all the all that crap you got to go through. The nice thing about being completely independent is you're completely independent. You can
right.
do whatever you want. The downside is that you don't have as much of a reach
Mhm,
as you would normally. But at this day and age, with the internet and stuff like that, I mean, it's a much bigger reach than was there years ago.
oh yeah,
So, now independent artists, yeah, they can get themselves out there, and it's a little bit easier. So those are the pros and cons, obviously. Ideally, it's like I'd love to just be independent, but just be able to have the reach of like a major label.
right. Yeah,
You know.
and I mean that's kind of why I do what I do. Not only is it really cool to talk to musicians, just simply because of my love of music. It's not like, I it at first I think it was kind of like a little starstruck, like, oh man, it's really cool to talk to you and this and that. But now it's like, I really have a deep appreciation for what you guys do. And
Awesome.
without you, there would be no, there'd be no music. And I mean,
Yeah.
could
Well,
you
it's a circle, it's a cycle. It's like we all need each other. And if there weren't people like you helping us, promoting us, getting our name out there, I mean, it's just this circle,
right?
and it's cool when everyone is on the same page, with that.
Yeah, and I mean that's like I've been talking to people is after a couple months maybe into the year I'm going to try to start a podcast. This is
Cool.
more of doing interviews and I edit them, put them up on YouTube and try to get it out
Nice.
there. But as far as like the podcast, what I want to do is like maybe about 15-20 minutes of just what's going on in rock this week, blah 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 blah. you
Very
know
cool.
but mainly I want to get artists to send me their tracks and play them, get them
Yeah,
out,
that's awesome, man. That's
because
great. It sounds cool.
yeah, I mean it's a I just, like I said, I have a deep appreciation for what you guys do, and I think that I mean everybody listens to the radio. You hear Metallica, you hear Avenged Sevenfold, you hear
Right.
Three Days Grace, whatever. But the underground music scene too is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I this is like my 213 or not 213 113th video I think I've done,
Oh wow.
and and maybe less than a year.
Oh
And
wow. Nice.
it's the music that I've been introduced to has been just amazing. I mean,
I bet.
it's been everywhere from, there I did one hip hop, I did singer songwriters, metal bands, just straight up rock and roll. And it's been a blast, man. It's just
Nice.
and I like I said, I think that you guys just, I want to be able to get you out there the most I can. I mean,
Well, that's awesome, man. It's much appreciated, I can say, on this side of it. To have people like you out there, giving us a hand with all this stuff.
yeah, man. I mean, it's, I guess since I never really learned to play, or I sound like a hound dog in the shower when I'm singing, but you
You and
know,
me both.
but I mean, this is my way. I feel like to contribute, and
Awesome.
I'm I do it more out of just pure joy. But like you
Yeah,
said, you get joy from what you do. I get joy from what I do.
sure.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'd like to start making some money at it because it would help me grow, to
Of
do
course. Yeah.
and I've thought about doing different giveaways where like I was going to go buy a guitar and I was going to have a band sign it, and then donate the proceeds to say the Music Foundation or something like that. It's just all
Yep.
about me,
Yeah.
and
That's
just
great, man.
like you guys. And I mean,
Awesome.
it just, the more you get out there, the bigger you get, the chances are of people coming through my town and me getting to see them and do live interviews. I mean,
Of course. Yeah. And that'll happen.
yeah, and I mean, I've done, I've talked to a band. What was it? Friday night. Yesterday. I talked to them, and they're out of Pittsburgh, which I'm like, okay, it's a 3 hour, 15-minute drive if I want to go out there and see them, play.
Yeah.
Um, Los Angeles is a lot further. So, but
A little bit of a
uh,
longer drive.
have you ever heard of Opus, the dude from Dead by Wednesday,
Yes.
Christian Lawrence?
Yeah.
He sent me some tickets to his birthday bash out in Connecticut, but it's January 14th. So I'm like, man, the weather
Oh,
then,
wow.
but I'm thinking about, going out there and checking that out. And, it's really, I was, I was almost giddy, dude, because I'm like, I just got, VIP passes from a musician to his birthday party.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. That's awesome. That's
You
a good
know,
sign.
It is, and I mean, I've had, I don't have a shit ton of viewer or not viewers, but a shit ton of subscribers, but I get plenty of views, and that's all I need, man. I mean,
Awesome, man.
you
And
guys,
it'll grow, man. The more you do it, it'll continue to grow.
right, and the more that you get, more views you guys get, and the more people that click on that link, the bigger
Exactly.
you get, and that's that community, man. That's that.
Yeah, totally.
a metal
Absolutely.
brotherhood.
Yep.
So, all right, buddy. Well, I do appreciate your time. It was great talking to you. I will look forward to that EP release. Uh,
Definitely. I'll keep you in the loop with everything as it gets closer, but I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure. And, like I said, we will definitely be in touch and I'll keep you in the loop with things.
Sweet, dude. Well, you just
Cool,
keep
man.
rocking, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. See ya.
Bye.